Hello writers, I'm Renee Latulippe with the Lyrical Language Lab, and this is Peek and Critique. Today I'll be taking a closer look at iambic meter. Be right back. Hey, welcome back. If you haven't already done so, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel by hitting that little button right there. And if you're a writer who would like your work critiqued here on Peek and Critique, send it in. You'll find a link for that in the description of the video below. So today I am taking a closer look at iambic meter and its variations. There are four main meters: iambic, trochaic, anapestic, and dactylic. Iambic is the one we all learned in high school because Shakespeare wrote in iambic pentameter. So what exactly is an iamb? It is simply a unit of verse that consists of one unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. One unit is called one iamb. When you put a bunch of those together, you get iambic meter. All right? And Shakespeare wrote in iambic pentameter. As I mentioned, pentameter means 5, so that means he put together 5 iambs in a row in one line. Hence iambic pentameter. As in, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks. Iambic meter is called a rising meter because it ends on the upbeat, right? We have unstressed and then stressed, so it's da-da, da-da. The second beat is the stressed beat, rising meter. The iamb's close cousin is the trochee, which is a falling meter. So it's just the opposite of an iamb in that it starts with a stressed beat and ends on an unstressed beat. Da-da, da-da, like that. I'm bringing up trochees because they are very closely related to iambs, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So to help us dive into iambic meter, I am looking at a submission from writer Caitlin Sanchez, who sent in these stanzas from a rhyming picture book. So I'm just going to give it a read normally without stressing too much the meter. Okay, I'm just going to read it as I normally would any type of poem. Magic colors dance and twirl, spinning in the air. I want to get a hold of them to give my paintings flair. Rumble, whoosh, a steely gray flashes near my face. I reach for it and, oh my stars, it blasts off into space. Crimson roosts along the fence and cock-a-doodle-doos. I take a step and off it goes to mingle with the blues. Aqua splashes, swirls, and crash, it breaks upon the ground. I dive to try to catch a drop, but none is left around. I miss my mark each time I try. Maybe I should quit. But how cool would it be to have those colors in my kit? It flows, doesn't it? Now I'm going to read it again, really pushing on the meter so you can hear the stressed and unstressed beats, the pattern of that as it goes back and forth, okay? And see if you can hear the variations. In the next step, I'm actually going to scan this and show you how I scan it, okay? But see if you can hear when a line starts with a stressed beat and when it starts with an unstressed beat. Okay. Magic colors dance and swirl, spinning in the air. I want to get a hold of them to give my paintings flair. Rumble, whoosh, a steely gray flashes near my face. I reach for it and oh my stars, it blasts off into space. Crimson roosts along the fence and cock-a-doodle-doos. I take a step and off it goes to mingle with the blues. Aqua splashes, swirls and crash, it breaks upon the ground. I dive to try to catch a drop, but none is left around. I miss my mark each time I try. Maybe I should quit. But how cool would it be to have those colors in my kit? Okay. Now, let's actually scan this. So to scan iambic or any meter, I am listening for those stressed beats, and when I find one, I put a slash And when I find an unstressed beat, I put a little U. Then I look at those patterns and see what I have. All right, so let's start here. Magic colors dance and twirl, spinning in the air. I want to get a hold of them to give my paintings flair. See those variations? Rumble, whoosh, a steely gray flashes near my face. I reach for it and oh my stars, it blasts off into space. More variations in that stanza and some more here. Crimson roosts along the fence and cock-a-doodle-doos. I take a step and off it goes to mingle with the blues. If you aren't already, do this along with me and see if you come up with the same thing. All right? You ready? We're going to start. And aqua splashes, swirls, and crash. It breaks upon the ground. I dive to try to catch a drop, but none is left around. I miss my mark each time I try. Maybe I should quit. But how cool would it be to have those colors in my kit? How'd you do? Did you get the same thing I did? Let's take a look. The first two lines start on a stressed beat. I just told you before that lines that start on a stressed beat are trochaic, right? A trochee starts with a stressed beat followed by an unstressed beat. And here we have indeed starting with a stressed beat. But then we get to our third and fourth lines and we have starting with an unstressed beat. So we first look to figure out what I'm trying to do here is figure out the dominant meter. Is it trochaic or is it iambic? So what I'm doing is looking, what is dominant, meaning what do I have more of? And it's not just about that, it's also kind of about the feeling of it. An iambic meter has a lilting feel to it because it is that rising meter. It ends on a stressed beat. Whereas a trochee is more of a driving tempo. Da 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 da. Whereas an iamb is da 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 da. Very similar, but different. So let's keep looking at what we have here. We have stress, stressed, unstressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, 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 stressed, unstressed, 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 stressed, unstressed. Overall, based on what I have in front of me and the feeling of this piece, magic colors dance and twirl, spinning in the air. I want to get a hold of them to give my paintings flair. It's lilting to me. I don't feel a driving beat. So I can kind of go 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but for me this is dominant iambic meter. And these moments where Caitlin has left off the first stressed beat. Okay, first, is it allowed? Yes, it is. Look how consistent this is overall. There's not one spot where she has like 2 stressed beats in a row or 2 unstressed beats in a row or too many beats in a line. It's so super consistent that these minor variations are not only allowed, they actually help the meter because they keep it from being too sing-songy. If it were all the same, da 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 da, we would get a little bit bored. So these tiny variations with these, we call this a headless foot, okay, like the headless horseman up there. This, if it were a real iamb, a full iamb I should say, would have an unstressed beat there. We lopped it off, therefore that is a headless foot. Each unit is called a foot. So I forgot to mention that before. So in this case, how many feet do we have? A foot is also counted by how many stressed beats. Don't be counting unstressed beats. Stressed beats. So our first foot is that one all by itself. Then we have another foot. Because an I am, unstressed, stressed. It's just two little things, right? Unless it's headless, in which case it's one. So how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4 I ams. So what is that? Iambic tetrameter. That's what that is. 4 iambs in a line makes it iambic tetrameter. Even if that first one is headless, it's still an iamb. Those stressed beats are what really matter to us. Okay? Same thing in the second line with the headless, but something's different. What's going on here? I only have 1, 2, 3 stressed beats. Well, that's fine. This is iambic trimeter because there are only 3 stressed beats, 3 iambs in this line. What's next? A full iamb, right? Another one, another one, another one. So we are back to iambic tetrameter here. Now, the big test is what do we have in this last line? Full iamb, full iamb, full iamb. So we are back to, that's right, iambic trimeter. Okay, so besides the fact that the meter is really consistent with the da 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 da, despite the headless iambs, we also see a pattern emerging here. We have one line of tetrameter, 4 iambs, followed by one line of trimeter, 3 iambs, followed by 4, followed by 3. And this is indeed called a 4-3-4-3 pattern. It actually has a name, 4-3-4-3 pattern. And it's a very common pattern. In fact, it's called common meter. And we also we can look at the rhyme scheme too. Today we're really just talking about meter. Twirl, air, them, flare. So, as we can see, the only thing that rhymes is this second line and the fourth line. So we have an A, B, C, B rhyme scheme. All right, so 4-3-4-3 pattern, A, B, C, B rhyme scheme. And here's the thing that's most important. When you set up a pattern like that, or any type of pattern at all, in your first stanza, it's got to be the same all the way through, unless you have a really good reason. One of those really good reasons could be a refrain that you decide to do in some other way, in some other, maybe you decide to do a 4-line stanza like this one, and then you do a 2-line couplet as a refrain every now and then. That's fine. Anything is possible. The important thing is that whatever it is that you do it consistently. So Caitlin has clearly set up a consistent pattern of 4-line stanzas, right? Quatrains with ABCB rhyme scheme and a 4-3-4-3 metrical pattern. And she's super duper consistent with that whole thing. So this is where knowing technical terms and knowing the technique behind meter really can come in handy. Because if you mess up or you have a line that isn't working for whatever reason, it's you're stumbling on it or other people are stumbling when they read it, knowing how the meter is working is going to help you fix the line, because you're going to be able to analyze the line by making our little dashes or slashes and U's and figure out, oh, maybe I've got 2 U's together or 3 slashes in a row, and that's just no good, right? So knowing how to do this and knowing the technical part behind it is just going to help you in your own writing to fix whatever's broken. Now, it just so happens that in this piece, there's nothing broken. Yay, Caitlin! Really beautiful job here. Not just with the meter and the consistency of your metrical pattern and your rhyme scheme, but also just the content. I really, really love this concept. I think you say it stanzas from a rhyming picture book. This could be a poem all by itself, a standalone poem, just as it is. But from what I can see here, it looks to me like you're writing a poem picture book. If you're not sure what a poem picture book is, I have a video on what a poem picture book is, so do give that a look. I'll put the link in the description below for those who are interested. It's a wonderful genre, I'm calling it a genre, which is an extended poem. It's a picture book length poem that has an arc, but not necessarily a full narrative plot or story. And this feels like it's heading in that direction. We've got this artistic picture book happening here, poem picture book, and I love it. And I think it's really inventive. I'm going to talk a little bit about content before we get back to the techie stuff. Really inventive how you are creating these images in each one for each color. You know, the rumble, the whoosh, the steely gray flashes near my face, and then we discovered that, you know, a rocket, the color gray is a rocket. So each stanza is a metaphor. There's so much going on here language-wise, you know, many riches to mine and to teach. If I were a teacher, I could use this to teach metaphor, simile. I could use it to teach, obviously, meter and rhyme scheme, iambic meter. I could use it to teach variations to an older crowd, like my students. I could use it to teach imagery. So many things happening. Onomatopoeia, rumble and whoosh, the swirls, the splashes, and the crashing. All good stuff. All good stuff. Other good stuff. One of my favorites is the oh my stars. Normally these little things like, oh my goodness, or oh no, I find them to be filler. You know, people often use these sorts of things, these exclamations, to fill out their line of meter because they don't know what else to say. But in this case, it is so well done because obviously it relates to space and we're talking about a rocket. So it's all really cohesive. And I like that. So we've got the rumbling and the whooshing, the steely gray. I like your decision to use steely. You could use any type of gray. There's so many types of gray. But because this is a rocket, it makes sense. It's a steely gray and that it flashes because it's a rocket. Everything works together. All these words hang perfectly together. And then, of course, the oh my stars, it blasts up into space. It's just really nice tying it all together. The crimson roosts along the fence. Of course, this is a rooster, so the word choice of roosts, you just can't get better. There's no better word. It's wonderful. And I love the personification of all of these colors. Another thing a teacher could use this for, teaching personification. It just all works so well together. So we've got crimson, great color, great vocabulary even in here, roosting and cock-a-doodle-doodling, doodle-doing, cock-a-doodle-doing, and then running off to mingle with the blues. And then I like also that you've connected, that he's gone off to mingle with the blues, and then we get some blue, we get some aqua, right? So aqua splashes, swirls, and crash. So you have art notes up here that's a rocket and a rooster. Here we don't have one, you don't need one. It's clear that it's water. And then you dive, so you're still in, you know, a water imagery there to catch a drop, but none is left around. This one is the only place I have a really quick suggestion. Aqua splashes, swirls, and crash. It breaks upon the ground. The crash is something different, right? It's just an onomatopoeic moment. It's an action that happens. Crash. So I need to set that apart. I would totally set that apart because otherwise it sounds a little like there's a grammatical issue. Like I want it to say aqua splashes, swirls, and crashes. But that's not what it's happening here. We need something else. So I'm just going to add an M dash in there to give the reader a pause that something else is coming and to set it apart that this is an action. It's not part of the splashes and swirls. All right. It splashes, it swirls, and crash, it breaks upon the ground. Okay. I dived into it, but none is left around. I think maybe this is the weakest line in it. None is left around. It's a little fillery, trying to get to that meter. I would not, it's not a deal breaker by any means, because this is a very strong piece. But as long as we're here, I thought I'd just bring that up, that one line doesn't really resonate too much with me. I miss my mark each time I try. Maybe I should quit. But how cool would it be to have those colors in my kit? It's just really lovely. I'm very curious to know what happens after this. So we've got an opening stanza, which often happens in a poem picture, where you've got that opening setting the scene. Then we've got 3 very specific stanzas with colors, and each one a very specific image, highly illustratable. Then we've got, stepping back again with a little bit of exposition, back to the narrator. I miss my mark each time I try. So I'm curious what happens after this. Are we getting more colors? Is there a rising action? Because even if it's a poem picture book, we still do need a bit of a rise. And then what's your denouement? So I'm very curious to know what the whole arc of this book is going to be, or already is, if you've already written it. Clearly you've put a ton of work into it. Okay, so that's my little interjection on the lyrical language part of it. Back to the meter. Why do these variations work so well? Besides the fact that they keep it from being sing-songy, there's 2 moments in particular that I think it works really well. One is when she's got the onomatopoeia with the rumble and the whoosh. Those are big sounds, right? So the fact that we've lopped off that first unstressed beat works really well. It gets us right in there. Rumble, whoosh, it's dramatic. So there's a little lopping, making this headless gives it a little, that extra drama to get us right into that line and feel that rumble and that whoosh. It's stronger in this way, in my opinion. Flashes near my face. This line also begins with a stressed beat. And flashing again it's a quick action. So I like that there's not something, some little unstressed beat that I have to get through to get to the flashing. It just works really well. The other moment I really like with the stressed beat is maybe I should quit down here. I miss my mark each time I try. And I like that there's a period here and not a comma or a dash. I'm stopping here. Maybe I should quit. I like it. The maybe it's one of those, pounding on that maybe just gives me more power there. Like there's some frustration going on there. Again, it's just a little bit more drama. So even if these variations are done unconsciously, and normally they are, the effect is that extra bit of drama and the avoidance of being sing-songy. I do get a lot of questions about when can I vary the meter, how often should I vary the meter, and that's really hard to answer. As I just said, it is highly doubtful that Caitlin sat down and said, you know what, I think I'm going to put a headless iamb at the beginning of this line to give it a lot more drama. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It just came that way. Okay? I think it would be very, very difficult to sit down and say and plan out those things. They just happen naturally. And also, iambs and trochees, as I mentioned, are very close cousins. And so these substitutions, also when you're in trochaic meter, you're going to find an iamb here and there. An extra unstressed beat at the beginning of a line instead of a stressed beat. It happens. The important thing is, does it all flow together? Okay, and because these 2 meters are so closely related, generally it works out fine if there are these variations. So if you are writing an iambic meter, don't go crazy trying to think, oh, I need variations. Where can I put the variations? You just write, let it flow, the variations will come, and then you go back and do this scansion exercise to make sure you haven't gone overboard with those variations, that it still flows naturally and consistently. And that's what we're looking for all the time, natural and consistent. So I hope you found this little crash course in iambic meter to be helpful, and let's get on to the writing prompt. I think you can probably guess what the prompt will be today, and that is to use Caitlin's sample as your model to write a similar iambic quatrain following the same pattern that Caitlin has, which is 4-3-4-3, which tetrameter, trimeter, tetrameter, trimeter, with a rhyme scheme of A, B, C, B. And why not? Let's go the whole 9 yards and make this quatrain about a personified color. Thanks for joining me at Peek and Critique. If you have writing friends and colleagues that you think would find this content helpful, please do share the videos, and we'll see you back here every Monday. Bye-bye.